Here are the latest rugby headlines for Thursday, March 23. Edwards criticizes injustice. Shaun Edwards criticized injustice of Freddie Steward's red card in final game of Six Nations, saying it was unfair to fans who paid to watch game. The England fullback was allowed to play after the expulsion decision was overturned, as 15-man Ireland beat England 29-16 to take the Grand Slam. Edwards was unimpressed by initial decision as France's Six Nations championship hopes had vanished. He wrote in the Daily Mail, Freddie Steward's red card on Saturday night, his red card cancelled on Wednesday, was an injustice. It was an injustice to Steward himself and also to the England fans who paid well for their tickets. Referees need to make their own decision. For more control and power. In football, it's ultimately up to the referee's discretion whether to step aside by VAR for a penalty check. In rugby it's like a village council meeting. To me, Steward's actions barely deserved a penalty. I have no idea what he could have done to avoid contact. Refereeing has turned into a box-ticking exercise. We have some great referees but they don't show up. Because the game is basically governed by World Rugby checklists. To have any discretion. Halfpenny and talks about the future Scarlets coach Dwayne Peel has confirmed that Leigh Halfpenny's future in Welsh Rugby will be decided shortly. Halfpenny is one of few players whose contract expires at end of season and may leave region in summer. The 34-year-old has been forced return to Wales after more than a year on the sidelines with a horrific knee injury and is hoping make final World Cup campaign at international level. He is expected to resume his club career next season, but where that will be remains unclear. These conversations are ongoing. We're chatting with him about his future. Such decisions, especially with someone like him, will be made, I think, in the next few weeks, Peel said. Fans Welsh Six Nations verdict. Your word. Hardy looks forward to following Six Nations disappointment. Scrum-half Kieran Hardy is ready to return to the post of Scarlet, who lost Wales's 9th place during the Six Nations. Hardy, 27, came out of the bench 12 minutes against England, but that was his only debut for Wales in this campaign. When Rhys, Webb and Tomos Williams competed the starting jersey, Scarlet's head coach Peel has confirmed that Hardy is available to visit the Sharks on Saturday and wants to get back into the action. When asked if players often need their arms after a meager or disappointing international campaign, Peel said, honestly it depends on the player. Some players need it, some don't. From my conversation with Kieran over the weekend, he was really looking forward to coming back. While the physical aspect of Six Nations is very difficult for someone like Ken who has played all games, sometimes the mental intensity of it can be just as tiring. How did things go in Six Nations with some people in particular if they haven't played that much? They're looking forward to coming back and playing some rugby. That's probably Kieran. He came back today, Tuesday, and he's cheerful, so he's looking forward to it. As for Wales captain Owens, he is on a week off from his Scarlet duties, fathering his wife Carys for the second time in the days leading up to Wales's Six Nations final in Paris. Ken will be taking a week off this week. He's obviously dealing with a baby as well, so I'm sure he's busy, Peel said. While Owens was also a mainstay for Warren Gatland on pitch, he was front and center in the negotiations during championship, which saw Wales's threat of strike action cancelled. When asked how he would keep Owens from being mentally drained on the Scarlets' return, Peel replied, I've known Ken for a long time, so I think it's an honest conversation with him to see where he is. And that's what I did. With all the children, I'll see where he is towards the end of this week. But if I know Ken like I do, I'm sure we'll make the right decision for him and he'll be ready to come back next week. He probably went through an emotional period in between everything. Some off-court issues. Being captain of Wales when all that was going on was probably stressful for him. I also know how important that is to him. Happy. Already. More. From the gym. I know that. The Women of Wales gives fans a chance to rediscover passion. Wales half-time Elinor Snowsill believes the upcoming Women's Six Nations is a chance for Welsh rugby fans to rediscover their passion for the game. Warren Gatland's Wales finished 5th in Guinness Six Nations after recording a single win against Italy, while the Wales U20s remained on wooden spoon. Off-pitch, there is a scrutiny into culture Welsh Rugby Union following allegations of sexism, misogyny, racism and homophobia, and freezing regional conventions that expired last week has caused concern for months throughout. Game. The Welsh women's campaign kicks off this Saturday when they host Ireland at Cardiff Arms Park. I think we have an opportunity to rekindle the Welsh fire and passion in rugby, said Snowsill, half player for the Bristol Bears. It's been tough few months for Wales rugby, but for us we had a great run with our clubs. We're on top. We finished the World Cup in quarterfinals. Best Six Nations finish in 13 years. Last year I think we're headed little different. I have no doubt that competitions be the hardest ever because all teams have started to fund their players a lot more. So it will be very difficult and we not take it lightly, but hopefully we can do it. Show a really interesting and fun rugby brand that people will want to leave behind. Hoping for a few Six Nations surprises. Snowsill, who entered their 13th Six Nations at age of 33, hopes fans will see development of Welsh side that went professional 14 months ago for first time. Now, 25 players are on full-time professional WRU contracts. I guess we're guinea pigs. Right? She loved it. Other teams are turning professional now, and of course there are England and France who have been professional for a while. We've seen a huge increase over last year in terms of both work-play and the initial emotional burden of trying to balance quick wins you can make with extra analysis. Extra kicking. I think we definitely did. We took advantage of that last year and hopefully we're fitter now. We have to be strong. We've had more time to put them in. Red Roses confident England will fill Twickenham in 2025 World Cup. England prop Hannah Boderman is confident the Red Roses will fill all 82,000 seats at Twickenham when her team hosts the 2025 World Cup. It hosted 14,800 in the 2010 World Cup finals. The Red Roses have already sold more than 40,000 tickets for their final Six Nations match against France Twickenham on the 29th of April and are well on their way to breaking the world attendance record for a women's rugby match, which stood at 42,579 last year's World Cup. New Zealand. When asked if that number would double in 2 years, Boderman replied to the PA news agency, "Yes. We've already sold 40,000, which is clearly half of where we want to be. I think in 2025, or even a few years from now, the biggest tournament you can play at home in your career, I think we can go there." 2021 due to the pandemic. Simon Middleton, head coach who led Red Roses to the World Cup finals 2017 and 2022. England finished second to New Zealand in both cases, will step down after tournament after spending nearly 8 years that position. England's top scorer, captain Sarah Hunter, also said he will hang up his boots after Saturday's opening game in his hometown of Newcastle. Warren Gatland's most likely Wales World Cup fighter is finally back, the Ospreys star announces. It's over and Wales is going strong again. Warren Gatland has set his Lions test roster and is not picking a single player in Wales. Wales star to return Six Nations after scare match incident sparked fears he could lose his arm.